Honey's gonna be with me today. Hey, lovers of arm wrestling, or rather, greetings. It's Matthew coming at you from the shady Texan woodland with a message about the vulnerability of a champion. I'd like to talk about Levan Saganashvili in this video. There were 3 catalysts that went into the making of it, and I've been thinking about it for quite a while, so I would love it if you could just tune in and hear me out, regardless of any misinformation that I may spew from my novice orifice. The first catalyst was the podcast, the Engen podcast with Devin and Levan. But before I go into that, I am going to become petulant at some point in this video. I'm going to become a slobbering little baby, just like Honey. God damn. I'm going to become petulant because I had a vision a few minutes ago, and that vision convinced me to just go ahead and make this because that vision pissed me off so bad. It was a fantasy about the Devin Levan match, a worst case scenario, if you will, which if it comes true, I'm just going to throw my computer through the fucking wall. So stay tuned for that closer to the end. But for now, back to the first catalyst, the Engen podcast with Devin and Levan. Devin was trying to poke holes in Levan the whole time. He was really interested in what happened in round 3 of the Hermes match and why Levan's elbow went off the back, right? A lot of us were wondering about that. Levan, though, he danced around that question like a 400-pound ballerina. He acted like bygones ought to be bygones. He dodged the questions about his weightlifting, too. Engen even asked him, "Are you the strongest you've ever been?" And Levan leaned back, and he took a big breath and looked up, and Devin went right in and said, "No, that's your answer. We all see it. We all know it. You're not the strongest you've ever been." Because he was reading Levan's body language. And, you know, Devin may or may not have been correct. But I kind of felt the same way. I don't want to make too many assumptions about Levan. I don't know him. I'm just a fan of the sport. But something about that seemed a little bit dishonest. And you know what else seemed a little bit dishonest? Saying that Hermes was no problem. That kind of went over a threshold for me into straight up bullshit. Levan said Hermes wasn't a problem, it was just my health, right? Well, if it was just your health, then would you have said 5 minutes after the match with Hermes, puffing away on your ventilator, being interviewed by Aussie arm wrestler, best match of my life? No. I think you would say best match of your life about an opponent who gave you a real challenge and who would have given you a real challenge no matter what weight you were at, no matter your health, no matter the temperature of the air in the room. I think Hermes exposed a weakness in Levan that Levan doesn't want to talk about. Second catalyst. Funny little podcast with RVJ and Ryan Bowen. RVJ had this bit where he was talking about the previous night when he'd been having a flame war on Facebook with family and friends. He was burning bridges, cutting ties. And he was talking to chat on stream at the same time saying, "Oh, if you guys come at me with some shit and I blow up in your face, it's because I'm fragile. I'm a broken person." And I thought that was so funny. I thought it was so authentic and refreshing that he would be open about something so pitiful. And I could relate to that. I've been more open about my own flaws as I've gotten older. I'm not that old, but I've seen in a lot of men, not all men, that as they get older, they start to take themselves a little less seriously. They take off some plates of their armor and just let themselves be imperfect. which I think is pretty cool. Devin is a lot like that. And I think it gives him some of his strength. I can relate to Levan if it is in fact the case that if he is trying to just amp up this aura of invincibility to the max, because I've been on top of things before. I have felt the need to hide my weakness. But yeah, that brings me to the third catalyst, which is kind of a series of recent videos from Devin where he talks about champion mindset. And he talks about that aura of invincibility. Devin's videos kind of encouraged me to make mine, because the subject is now kind of an open thing. So I guess that brings me to my little fantasy, my little vision that I had that made me want to punch a tree. Let's say it's round 2. Levan has pinned Devin once, but it was harder than he imagined. And he's got sweat pouring from his brow. And he's stalling a little bit. He's taking his time coming back to the table. Finally gets there. Devin is waiting for him. Fire in his eyes. Strap up. Go! And Levan doesn't get purchased this time. The wrist. Lightning goes through his wrist. And he waves and says, "It's off. I can't do it. I'm injured. Let's do this match another time. I'll take the loss, 0-6. But I'm not doing this match. Just to avoid getting pinned. Just to avoid getting pinned." If that happens, I'm throwing my computer all the way down to China. The earth is ending in a ball of fire. Holy shit. Don't let that happen, Levan. I doubt you're watching this, but if there is some chance that you are, die on the fucking table, man. If you avoid getting pinned, if you disrespect the sacrifice Devin made, sorry, I just had to get that off my chest. No disrespect. And I really don't think Levan, I don't want to think Levan is the type of person who would do that. Anyway, not to dwell on negativity. Take care of yourself, dear viewer, and keep having an open heart. I'll try to do the same. Talk to you later.